Welcome Bike Gang, I'm the best dasher alive, aka little sport mode, and we got the new ECLIO F01 e-bike right here. Also, another name for it is the Vetus one, and we're going to be doing a full review and breakdown of this e-bike. I'm going to give you all my thoughts on it. The main things we're going to go through in this video is range tests. We're going to see how it does as far as battery performance goes. Obviously, we're going to talk about its speed. We're definitely going to talk about its comfortability or lack thereof. And also, we're going to be doing some uphill tests to see if this can handle some hills. There's a few improvements which I think can be made, which I'll talk about towards the end of the video. By no means deal breakers, not even close to being deal breakers, just a couple things that could be improved. And we're not going to be doing any off-road tests. Not recommending this bike for off-roading. Just some nice chill cruises on some nice chill paths and roads. Maybe some real nice grass and some sand. But really, I'd just stick to some nice pavement. So first, let's talk about comfortability. I'm 5 feet 8 inches tall, about 160 pounds, and this bike fits me perfect. I've been on some other similar styles that are a little bit smaller, and when you pedal on the smaller ones, my knees come up a little bit high where it's just like slightly uncomfortable. This is the perfect size. When I pedal, it doesn't feel like it's too short of a revolution or my knees are coming up too high. It's honestly a really nice feel when I'm pedaling this bike. And the seat is nice and wide and long. You could easily fit 2 people on here and be quite comfortable. It's just a comfortable, good looking bike, honestly. Like, people definitely are looking at me when I'm riding, trying to see the bike a little bit better. So style wise and comfort wise, highly recommend. Even if you're a bit bigger than me, height or weight, or smaller height and weight, I think this bike can be comfortable for a really wide variety of people. And also, unboxing and setup wise wasn't anything too crazy, just basically a standard e-bike delivery setup. Comes in a big cardboard box. Handlebars weren't put together, the headlight wasn't on yet, the pedals right here weren't on yet, and the front wheel wasn't on yet. You just got to slap all those on and you're good to go. I would definitely recommend, for me, it was much easier to use the video, which you can find on YouTube or on the brand's website. And by the way, I'll leave a link to this bike in the description of this video. If you want to click through and buy that, I get a little commission, which is helpful for me. It's sitting at about $730 right now, which honestly, price point, I think that's a great price point for this bike. That's a pretty comfortable price point to swallow for, you know, this type of vehicle. And I don't think anyone will get this at that price point and be disappointed or think that they paid way too much for it. I think it's a nice price point for this bike right here. Like I was saying, definitely use the setup instructions, the setup video on the website or on YouTube, and don't try and do it out of the instructions manual. The manual I found to be way more difficult. Video was super helpful. I'll also leave a link to that video in the description of this video. And then obviously, you're gonna wanna unlock the bike. It comes locked at max speed of 20 miles per hour. If you want to unlock it to that 28 miles per hour, here's how to do that. Here's how to unlock this e-bike so that it goes 28 miles per hour. What you're gonna do, you're gonna need this. I'll explain this in just a second, but you're going to need to grab the brakes, both brakes, and hold them in, and you also have to roll the throttle at the same time, and then you have to turn on the power button. And then once it's powered on, you're gonna have to hang this over the top of it. And then once you've done that, the screen will switch, and then just keep holding everything for a little bit longer, and then you can let go, and it should go into unlocked mode, and you can go 28 miles per hour. So here's how it works. In order to do this by myself, I hang this out of my mouth. If you have a second person that can help you with this piece of it, that'd be a lot easier. So, got this in my mouth, both the brakes, roll the throttle, hold down the power button, screen turns on. I'm still holding everything down. Now I need to tap this. Now you get the 0.5 right there, and just keep holding for a little bit longer just to make sure it's working, make sure it's unlocking. And then you can let go of everything and then go into your pedal assist mode number 3. Go ride, and you should have 28 miles per hour unlocked. So the first range test I did at maximum speed, 28 miles per hour, throttle only in pedal assist mode number 3, we got 20 miles, pretty much a flat 20 miles. And by the way, the screen is really nice and the odometer tracks very well, and the speedometer also works very well. I found them to be very accurate, no inaccuracies, no lag or anything like that. So 20 miles, and then it dropped me to a reduced speed. All right, I just went completely dead. I got about 20 miles and then it reduced to 17 miles per hour. And then it went completely dead about a half mile after that. So I got 20 miles total at 28 miles per hour, throttle only. And then it reduced me to about 16, 17 miles per hour and gave me a half mile extra. So just a little over 20 miles total, but at full speed, it was just a straight 20 miles. The second range test that I did was still in pedal assist mode number 3, but we only pedaled this time, didn't use the throttle at all, and that barely changed things at all. All right, that's the end of the full speed range test pedaling. And we did about 20, 21, and then it reduced speed. Let's say 21, I think it was right at 21, it reduced speed. And then it gave me like another half mile, so in between 21 and 22. So it did a little bit better than throttle only, but pretty much the same. And that's expected because you're in the fastest mode in pedal assist mode number 3, and pedaling, you're not really using the resistance of the pedals to propel you at all still. The pedals just trigger the electronics, and then the electronics take it from there. And so to be expected. And that's why I wanted to do a third test in pedal assist mode number 2, so coming down a level and still only pedaling, not using the throttle at all, because I wanted to see how much range that would give us, because I figured if I go down into pedal assist mode number 2 and pedal, my legs will actually help propel the bike a little bit and not rely solely on the battery, which should in theory give us more mileage, and it did. All right, that's the end of range test number 3. That was pedal assist mode number 2, pedaling, and we did 24 miles full speed pedaling, and then it reduced speed, and the top speed was about 21 miles per hour, and then it got reduced to about 16 miles per hour at 24 miles traveled. And then we got about another 2 as it just gradually decreased in speed and then gave out. So we got pretty much 4 to 5 extra miles by going down to pedal assist mode number 2. Pedal assist mode number 2 caps you at like 20 miles per hour, I think, or 18, something like that, which yeah, that's like enough speed to get around, and any slower than that, it's just kind of like not that much fun to me. So didn't do any tests slower than that, but obviously the slower you go, the more range that you'll get. So just to recap the range test, at full speed throttle only, we got 20 miles. At full speed pedal only, we got like 20 and a half miles. And then in pedal assist mode number 2, coming down a level, pedaling only, we got 24, 25 miles. And then how long did it take for the battery to recharge from a complete 0% all the way to 100%? Took a little over 7 hours. And they say 7 to 8 hours. I found it to be much closer to 7, charged a little bit faster than I anticipated. And then as far as improvements go, one thing I did notice is every bike's a little bit different. Every electric bike is a little bit different, but when you start to pedal, you got to give it 2 to 3 revolutions before it starts to provide you with battery power. And I don't know, I prefer that it responds a little bit quicker than that. Some people like to have a couple revolutions before it starts to propel you. Maybe that's just personal preference, but an improvement that I personally would like to see is it respond a little bit faster once you start to move the pedals. But also that can be a little bit dangerous, because if you're just like sitting on a bike, like this, and you just move the pedal forward a little bit, if it responds too quickly, you can accidentally just, push the pedal down a little bit and you start to go without expecting to be going anywhere. And it could, you could fall off the bike could crash, you could run into someone. So there is some reason to have a little bit of delay there, but I wouldn't mind if it was a little bit quicker of a response. The only other improvement I could kind of think of, and this is just standard for all e-bikes, they obviously don't give you the strongest, most durable tires ever. And these ones are actually pretty decent, but I like to really ride my bikes. And so one of the main things I do is I swap the tires that they come with for some stronger tires, so I don't get punctures and flats as easy, and I can ride on a little bit tougher terrain if I want to. So I mean, that's not something really most bike companies do. They pretty much all stick to shipping their bikes with pretty basic tires, but that's just something I always like to see improved on e-bikes. We're gonna do a little uphill test. It winds up that way and then takes us up there to the top. It's fairly steep. Obviously the camera's not gonna really do it justice, but it is fairly steep. So let's see how this goes. I forgot to get my GoPro chesty to put a camera on my chest, so we're just one-handing it right here with the phone. Make it a little bit more difficult. We've got it in PAS 3 right now, not pedaling, just using the throttle. And so far it's handling it. Let's see, we're at 12 miles per hour. So it's, you know, we're less than half speed right now, but it's making its way up here, no problem at all. Take this corner right here, and then it gets to the steepest section of it, which is this right here. Again, doesn't look crazy steep on camera, but it's definitely some good steepness. We're at 15 miles per hour. And then right here at the very top of it, I think, is the steepest part of it. This little corner right here. Yeah, so got up there, no problem at all. It definitely gets up hills, but it also definitely loses quite a bit of speed when you start going up some hills. If it's just like mellow, gradual hills, you're gonna be pretty okay, especially if you wanna pedal a little bit. You know, you can attack some hills pretty nicely with this thing. So now a quick little tour of the bike right here. You got this nice seat, comfortable, long, definitely wide enough. Right here, you've got the battery compartment, and right here, it's got a key slot, so you can lock and unlock the battery to remove it, to uninstall it and install it. And then on this side over here, you've got an on-off switch for the battery, and it's really easy to take in and out, which I appreciate a lot. Then you've got your throttle right here on the right-hand side. It's a twist throttle, and you also have your shifter right here, 7 different gears, a Shimano shifter right here, and works nice, works well. Haven't had any issues with it. Over here, you've got 2 different control panels. You've got your on-off button right here, and then you've got a plus and minus, so that you can go up and down in between your pedal assist modes. And then also, if you hold down the plus button, that's how you get your headlight to turn off and on. And that's one thing I didn't test. I didn't test any of this with my headlight on. If I did, I imagine I'd lose a little bit of range, because that just drains your battery a little bit more. And then you've got another control panel right here, which is for blinkers. This bike actually comes with a left and a right blinker. And then it also comes with a horn, which sounds like this. And then the display screen does a really nice job, even in really bright sunlight. It's very easy to see. It has this unique NFC smart card. So some bikes have started to do this, where you turn it on, power it on, screen lights up, but then to get it to actually turn on all the way, you have to hold this over the screen. It's basically like a keyless entry type of thing, but a keyless way to turn on the bike. And then the screen right here is a great screen. Even in really bright sunlight, it's really easy to see. And the display on it is just a really user-friendly display, really easy to see your battery percentage and all of that. And then you've got some shocks here on the back, and then you've also got these on the front, and that helps it be quite a smooth ride, honestly. Definitely way smoother than other bikes that do not have any rear shocks or anything like that. Brakes work well, but brakes are kind of like the tires, in my opinion. They're not spending on the nicest tires or the nicest brakes typically on like entry-level styled e-bikes, or even on really nice e-bikes. Oftentimes, those just are the two where they're not spending for the highest quality. But the brakes work fine, but just like the tires, I wouldn't mind if they were improved. I would like if they were, but they work fine, and not like mad about the brakes or anything like that. So it gets my little sport mode recommendation. I think anybody who's just looking for a casual, smooth cruiser, this is a good way to go. I'll leave a link to it in the description of this video.